In this video, I want to share with you the mods I have done on my 2023 Honda CRF300L Rally. I feel like I finally have this bike complete and built out exactly how I want. I've pretty much made it a mini ADV bike. All right, so we're going to go from the bottom of the bike to the top of the bike as far as mods, and kicking it off with the tires. I have the Bridgestone Battle Axe AX41s. You all know I absolutely love this tire. I use it on my Africa Twin, my Triumph, many different bikes. I love them. The longevity and the life of these are not good at all. I've done multiple videos on these. You're lucky to get 3,000 to 5,000 miles, maybe 6 out of them on a bigger heavy bike. On a lighter bike like this, I can already see some wear. I probably got, I don't know, maybe around 1,500 miles on these already, and they're already starting to wear. And on a lighter bike like this, I'm not incredibly happy with these tires. I like these on big heavy ADV bikes, but not on a lighter one. I'll probably swap these out to the Dunlop D605s next, but again, they're pretty great on the street, just not that good off-road on a lighter bike. Now in this shot here, you're gonna see quite a few mods, from the skid plate to the guard, to the lowering link, to the foot pegs. And I wanna kick it off with the foot pegs here. These are from CNC. Their stuff is on Amazon. I've used a lot of their stuff before, but they did send these out for coverage, and I was kind of interested with them. You got a big foot peg, and then you got this back bit here, which is really nice. So whenever you're standing up, or heck, even when you're just riding, you got that rest right there. You don't always have to have your foot forward up on this. You got that bit back there, which again plays a really nice role whenever you're standing up off-road. Now on the flip side of these foot pegs, you can see the left one really interferes with the kickstand. Now I have the aftermarket kickstand here because I have it lowered, which we'll talk about here shortly. But you can see whenever I got the kickstand down, it's pushing on that spring just slightly. If I push the bike up, you can see it comes down, and then right there it just hits into it slightly. So again, you can't move it right now, but whenever it's up, it still hits there as well a little bit. It's never been an issue off-road or anything. I don't know if that's going to cause issues down the road by any chance, but that is a little bit of a stinker that it interferes. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the lowering link. Out of the gate, off the showroom floor, this bike's tall. It's taller than a regular 300L. And you all know I covered the 300LS before. And once riding that, I just fell in love with that riding position. I like doing exploration rides or just turning down random roads, a little tight little paths, right? And I don't know what's down there. And when I get in a tight situation, I like to be able to put my feet down and just walk it over, get a little bit of throttle if I want. And now with this lowering link, I can. But yes, sometimes it does become a pain. Like I'll go on some spots where I gotta go over a big mound and it will bottom out. And I'm like, man, if I didn't have the lowering link over there, I'd be able to make it out perfectly fine. And then also when it's on the kickstand, as far as the lowering link, it just like leans over super bad big times, you know? So again, it's not perfect, but in the majority of the situations, being able to walk it through those obstacles, the lowering link just changed this bike dramatically. It also changed the handling. If you've ridden a 300L or the Rally before, it's pretty loose up at the front end, right? You got a truck pass you or something, or you're going a little fast, you got some wind, you really feel that the handlebar, that front wheel start to dance quite a bit, even on loose gravel. But now with the lowered, how it is right here, that center of gravity going down a little bit more, it's not as dancy. It's really locked in a whole lot more. And again, that could be a pro or con for some people. You might want to twist it around and get all crazy. That's not my style. I like just kind of getting out there cruising and exploring. But like this, you definitely feel a whole lot more planted than again in stock form. Now next up is the skid plate that I have here. I forget the name of it or what company it's from. It's been covered left and right online on the Rallies, and it's just a perfect fit. It loops right around here. You see you got a little cut up front right there. It takes place of that plastic bit. You remove the plastic bit and then this goes on the Rally. Super thick. It doesn't rattle or anything. And again, I've bottomed the heck out of this bike before and it saved me. So this is like a must on your Rally. Now for the last two mods down on the lower part of the bike, we have the Moose Racing shift lever here. I really like it a lot more robust. I've actually bent the stock when I was on here, went into the engine housing right there. So hopefully this one holds up a little bit more. And then again, that kickstand, which you saw with the foot levers here, let me go and push it up a little bit. I had to get this adjustable one. You can see it's bolted right there, so I can adjust it higher or lower. I had to get that whenever I lowered the bike, because if I used the stock one, the bike would almost sit up straight and pretty much feel like it's going to fall over every time. So again, if you lower the bike, you pretty much need this unless you can weld and make a custom one. Now as far as the exhaust, I got the Black Widow one, and I actually went with the whole exhaust. Usually I just get the slip on, but this time I went with the full one. Do I notice any difference? Not really. Again, it's a minimal mod. I also got the bag shield. This is by Rhino Hawk, just a cheap one off Amazon. So if I got a passenger or if I put a bigger bag, it won't burn out there. But as you see, I also went with the bigger exhaust rather than something shorter that would end down here. Just again, if I got a passenger or bags, it will still spit out towards the back end. Now this exhaust, as you can hear, is incredibly loud. It's got a gurgle, a burble to it. Hopefully you can still hear me. And this isn't even stock. I got the whole system loud out of the gate that I bought the little Black Widow adapter, and it goes right here before the slip-on to make it even quieter. So again, this is as quiet as you can make this exhaust, and it's still pretty loud. Let me rev it up and let you listen to that as well. I wish it was a little bit quieter, but I bought the whole system, so I'm gonna leave it on. The next model we're gonna talk about are the Outback Motec crash bars, and there's a lot of conflicted talk about these online, as far as especially attaching up here where it's a little bit flimsier. Some people have talked about it breaking off their headlight housing. I will tell you the fitment is a little iffy, and yes, it is a little flimsy up there. You can see I can kind of move it. Now I'm putting a little muscle into that, and then also down here, the fender would hit this down there, so I had to shave off the fender a little bit, but I have dropped this bike. You can see scratches and chips on them, and it's held up perfectly fine. Again, it's one of those things like on a rally, I feel like it's a must because you got all these plastics just right along with that skid plate down there. Crash bar, skid plate, must get. Now attached to those crash bars, you saw my fog lights. These are some basic cheap ones off Amazon, but wow, do they light up the road and serve the purpose. I got them routed just to a basic switch up top on the handlebars, and they are phenomenal. Now, as far as my hand guards, I am using Barkbusters, and I am using a Storm version here. I love these Storm ones over the basic ones. It just distributes that air a lot better, or if it's rainy and wet, it just, again, lets it all just kind of flow over you rather than onto you. Really like these, and plus they just look a little bit sleeker. Now, I know I said I was gonna work from the bottom and then up, but since we're at the front of the bike, I wanna talk about this a little bit. This is one of those windshield attachments. I'm sure you guys have seen it many times before. I just have the cheap Amazon one because if I fall over, these things always tend to break. So it's just, you know, 12 bucks to get a new one. But it's nice if you're on a highway, you can adjust it up right here, block some of that wind from hitting you. Really nice little addition, but most of the time I just leave it down. And as far as all my handlebars, I do have the Pro Taper SEs. I couldn't get the ones I usually get, the CR high bends. They were sold out, so I had to go with the SEs, but they serve the exact same purpose. I think they're just a little bit thinner, and then they got this bar up here. I also have Pro Taper grips, which I really like these. Nice grippy, and they're also a little bit thicker. I like that thick feel up here on my bars. And the mirrors, you've seen these in every single one of my videos. I use them on every single one of my bikes. They're $30 off Amazon. You don't need the 2 wrenches to adjust them. It's just that little bolt right up there, and you can tweak them up. And it's nice. If you fall over off-road, it's incredibly easy just to get them right back in position rather than having to have 2 wrenches. Now I want to talk about my entire luggage setup I have on this bike. And it's no secret, you all know I absolutely love Nelson Rig, used them across multiple bikes. And up front, I got the Hurricane tank bag, which I just love. It's got plenty of space. It's really solid. It's easy to get off. On the back, I have their, I believe it's the Adventure bag. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan of this. I need the waterproof one, which they are coming out with for 2024. So I'm going to get that and try that out. It's pretty much just like this, where again, it's really solid, all waterproof. This one will get wet when you're out there. I can also take this back one off and slap a shad, because I got a shad rack down there, and I can use a shad hard case if I want. And right below that, you're seeing the Giant Loop bags, which I absolutely love on this bike. I can put a water bottle in there, a towel or some socks or whatever. Really perfect size. I wish Nelson Rig made something like this, because this Giant Loop stuff is ridiculously expensive. I actually got these on sale. That's the reason they are on here, but I do really like them. I just wish they were cheaper. I almost totally forgot to talk about my rack, because it's hidden underneath everything over here. This rack is off Amazon, and I really like it. It's just very solid, easy to install, and that is where I have my shad actually mounted to, the shad rack. But usually I keep my soft bag up here with my net so I can throw my jacket in or something. It's just nice to have a lot of the versatility if I want to do long rides or what do I want to carry with me. And then up on the handlebars right here, you can see I also have that Giant Loop handlebar bag, and I flipped it the opposite way so it doesn't interfere with the tank bag and hit it so much. I leave garage door opener and stuff like that, just simple stuff. Little kickstand deal right up on the front. It's just really nice and convenient to have this little bag out of sight, out of mind up here. And of course, my seat concept seats. I get seat concepts on just about all of my bikes. I love them. What I like about them is they make them a little bit wider, so your butt's not really like pinched off on the end. It's just very comfortable for longer rides, and still easy like off-road if you want to stand up. It's still thin enough up here. This is the regular one, by the way. It's not the lower one. The lower one does slope down a little bit in the front. I've used that one before. And then of course the taller one, well, it's going to be taller, but with it being lowered, and the regular one on here with me being right at 6 feet, I think my inseam's right around 32, 33. This is just the perfect combo, and this seat transforms this bike. This is again another one of those must-buy mods for a 300L or especially a rally. Now, also on the dash, you can see I got my 12 volt in there, and then I keep my USB chargers. I actually have that rack, that little mount up on the front, and it actually comes with both of these, two 12 volt, another circle on that side, but since I got the ABS version, I actually had to cut it off so it would fit on there. And then you got this little bit on the bottom where you can put some switches or extra buttons. I tried breaking it off because I don't plan on putting anything else there, but I couldn't break it off. But again, it's really nice to have that bracket to get something like this to hold on to, because with the rallies, it usually like screws on right here, I believe. So this just holds it on a lot better position. And now for the last model on my bike, I want to talk about the Carpi Ride. Now I did a standalone video on this, but now that I've used it quite a bit, I want to talk about it a little bit more. And I'm going to show you me fired up right away. My phone is in my tank bag, by the way. I use an iPhone, so you can use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay on this. I use Apple CarPlay. And again, I got it routed right into my 12 volt here. You can route it down into the battery if you want, but I figured this is easier. Then I can use it in a car if I want, or on another bike. But you saw it just load up right there. I don't know if you can actually see the apps and the stuff, but you can use Gaia, you can use Apple Maps, you can swipe over, use Rever, OnX Off-Road, your Pandora, Google Maps, everything the exact same as on your car. Now, one thing I did find out is, as far as me running a USB, if I want to take my phone and charge it while I'm using this, it'll actually cut off. Like, it's not getting enough power every now and then. So unfortunately, even though I got two USBs up here, I cannot charge my phone at the same time while I have this plugged into USB. Now, one of my biggest complaints about the Carpi Ride was the installation bit, because it just came with a really big arm. It probably like stuck way out here. Couldn't you see it in the screen, right? But I did create this little bit here. I got one of the little navigation mounts, and then this little tiny RAM arm that attaches there, and this goes right into it. And it's just perfect. Now it sits right above my dash. Of course, it'll also differ bike to bike, but you don't want that thing really out there in the way. So this is a really nice combination I made here. Now, the question I get asked the most about this Carpi Ride is it actually waterproof? They state it's waterproof, and I've gone through water crossings where the water's come up and splashed over it. I've ridden in a mild drizzle before, and everything's perfectly fine. Actually, whenever I did my mount back there to install it, it comes out the back and you got all these nice gaskets back there and everything. So with my mild testing, it's held up perfectly fine. But in the name of science, we can test it with a little bit more water and see how it does here. Oh, it's actually activating my screen. Look, it's actually, whenever I spray it, it's actually activating my screen right here. But it's still staying on. So there we go, my 300L Rally build. I truly love how this bike turned out. Again, you look at the 300L as a dual sport, right? The Rally is just something with a little bit more wind blockage in gas tank, but with what we've done here, I truly feel like it's a mini ADV bike. It really is. Could it use a little bit more power? Sure, but it's perfectly fine how it is. And everything I have right here, I'll go on long distance trips, I'll take it down that trail, I'll just do whatever with it. The only thing I would change out of what I have right here is, again, I want that new Nelson rig bag, and I'll probably change out my tires once these wear down a bit. But other than that, I absolutely love this build. But I want to hear what you think about my mods down in the comments below. Do you think maybe a little excessive? Or more importantly, I'd love to hear if you know some different mods for the 300L Rally that I don't have on here. I'd love to check some of those out. But all in all, thank you so much for coming by for this video. I hope it helped you out one way or another, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to catch you on our next adventure. Bye now.